So there are always a ton of questions about how you create an IEP goal that is aligned to a child's grade level. And that makes a lot of sense because in special education, children are not at grade level. If they were at grade level, they wouldn't be in special education. So here is the answer to this question: unpacking a Common Core State Standard, also known as lattice task analysis, also known as how to teach grade level standards to kids who aren't at grade level. So hang with me here. I will teach you exactly how to do it, and you will feel okay about picking a grade level standard by the time we're finished. So when we look at the Common Core State Standards, each one is really pretty complex, and I'm going to use an example in this slideshow, that's only at the 3rd grade level. It's a spoken language, English, so it's CCSS, Common Core State Standard, ELA, English Language Arts, Literacy, spoken language, grade 3, 1D. And the Common Core Standard says, explain their own ideas and understanding in light of the discussion. And that, actually for 3rd grade, that's not that hard. Higher grades are harder to understand. But we're going to stick with this example. So we are going to work on analyzing the Common Core State Standards by the depths of knowledge. And the depths of knowledge, or DOK, are one of those taxonomies of how you choose goal verbs. So you might be familiar with Bloom's taxonomy, which is one of the really popular ones. Depth of knowledge is a little bit more current, and it only has 4 levels: recall, skill or concept, strategic thinking, and extended thinking. And that level 3, strategic thinking, is about what grade level would be considered. So if you're having kids at a recall level, that's below grade level, and extended thinking is above grade level. This chart is the depth of knowledge chart. I will put it online for you to look at. I actually keep a copy of it on my file cabinet. See here, it's right here. So that when I write lesson plans and when I worked on my book, I was using these depths of knowledge verbs to help me make sure I was addressing higher level thinking as well as lower level thinking, and just to find really good verbs to write goals and objectives. So we're going to think about this Common Core State Standard according to the depths of knowledge, and here's the standard again. And we're going to do something we call unwrapping the Common Core State Standard and coding the standard. And one of the reasons we do this is because when we first look at some of these Common Core standards, it's really hard to understand what they're asking us to do. So the very first thing we want to do is make sure that we really fully understand what that standard is asking us to do. Remembering that Common Core State Standards are things that children should meet by the end of a school year. It's not at the beginning. They should meet all of them at the end. So obviously, task analysis is going to work, right? You've got to work up to and take the steps up toward getting to that end. In this particular, in this case, in all cases, we're going to circle any verbs and underline any nouns. The verbs are the skills, so that's what we want the children to do, and the nouns are the concepts. And again, in this one, it's pretty easy. We have here, explain is the only verb, so it's circled. And then the nouns are concepts, so ideas, understanding, and discussion. So we want the children to explain ideas, understanding, and discussion. Again, this one is really simple. Sometimes you get into some of the ones that are about math, and they've got rational numbers and irrational numbers, imaginary numbers, and unless you really know what all of those are, it can be quite confusing about what that standard is asking you to do. In each case, though, we're going to make what we call a concept tree, and we're going to define each one of these concepts. So if we're clear on what the standard is asking for, we can clearly teach children. If we don't know what the standard is saying, I don't know how we could possibly teach kids to do that thing. So here's the standard again. Our verb is explain, our concepts, ideas, understandings, and discussion. So I created this smart chart, ideas, and I used Merriam-Webster's dictionary. An idea is an opinion or a belief, something you picture in your mind. So this is a way that we can help ourselves understand so we can help children understand. If a children doesn't even understand what an idea is, this is a place that we can go to. Also a thought planner suggestion about what to do. And then I continued that same thing with understandings and with discussion. Now again, this might feel like overkill, but creating this chart is something that's going to help you really fully understand what that Common Core State Standard is asking so that you can design the right lessons and assessments to help your kids meet what this is asking. Now here comes the really good part. We've coded the thing and we've done a concept tree, and now we're going to task analyze the entire Common Core State Standard across the 4 depths of knowledge. So you have a chart like this. The cognitive level is from low to high, and the depths of knowledge are from low to high. So note here, we've got recall, skill or concept, strategic thinking, and extended thinking. And in each block, we're taking this standard apart and thinking about what are we doing at a very low level. So at a very low level, we just need a child to tell us what their ideas are. They don't even have to explain, they just have to tell. I was talking to a friend of mine, and he said that his son likes to have his peanut butter and jelly sandwiches made in a very particular way. And only mommy can make them right, and daddy doesn't do it right. And so dad made this peanut butter and jelly, gave it to his kid, and the kid bit into it and said, "This isn't right." And my friend says, "Well, what's wrong with it? What did I do? I put the jelly on." And the child was unable to explain why that wasn't right. So the child, in this particular case, would be at a low level, just a recall level. He could tell what his ideas were, but he wasn't able to get to that level of explain. He's still working on our Common Core Standard for 3rd grade. Explain their ideas in light of a discussion, or in this case, in light of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So does that make sense? How it's a low level, but we can say that it is about this higher level, 3rd grade level skill. Another place that we might have children look is to recognize an idea that's shared or report an idea that's shared by a peer. So that goes from very low, just tell what I can think. Recognizing someone else thinks something, that's a next level. And then the next level higher than that is report. So I could tell you, which is what I did actually. I just shared with you something that my peer told me. My friend told me about making a peanut butter and jelly for his kid. So even though depth of knowledge 1 is below grade level, and it's quite low level, it's working on a 3rd grade skill. Those of you who work with kids with much lower cognitive ability who can't even tell what their ideas are, you might back up even farther than tell what your ideas are to request an item, right? If they have 2 picture icons and they can give you the one for the break that they want, or if that is a way of explaining what their idea is, right? If you task analyze this back even farther, then you can say that child is working at the 3rd grade level. It doesn't say that they have to get to the 3rd grade level, by the way. That's not what the law says. We don't have to get children to grade level. We have to have them working toward grade level. This chart just continues, explain how their ideas make sense, summarize the ideas shared by a group of peers, getting higher, interpreting how ideas lead to understanding in the discussion. Then when we get to depth of knowledge 3, we're at grade level now. Cite evidence from the discussion to support ideas and understanding. And that is really closely aligned with what the standard says. Revise ideas as needed. That's something that a lot of kids are really having a hard time with. Even as 1st graders, you ask them to make a prediction about the storybook, and they predict wrong. And it's very hard for a 1st grader to revise their ideas. And then for extended thinking, so you've got a kid and explaining his or her own ideas is too small, we can ask them to connect ideas from discussion of 2 related topics that you're trying to connect the story of the three little pigs to maybe something that happened in real life. And you're connecting those two things. And also just analysis, that's another higher level. So again, when we look at this particular chart, we call it a lattice task analysis because it's not just a straight line of skill, 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 and then we build. This is actually kind of like a trellis, a lattice that the plant can grow up, and it's showing you, what is this, like 11 different ways, 10 different ways that we can help the child get to this final point. And you can see how this could almost become a roadmap for the entire school year, that we start just with telling ideas, and by the end of the year, we're trying to get to revising ideas as needed. When it comes to your IEP goals, though, if your IEP goal is the student will recognize an idea shared by a peer or teacher, if they're just able to say, yes, that's an idea that my teacher had, that's an idea that my friend had, that could be an IEP goal. Recognize an idea shared by a peer or a teacher. It's not grade level, but it is connected to a grade level standard. And that is what it's all about. So that's my kind of quick take on this idea of how to align something to a grade level standard. Is you're just going to task analyze that standard. No one said you have to make the goal, the grade level goal, the child's IEP goal. It's just that you're able to defend in an IEP meeting to the parents and your administrator and possibly the child's lawyer that your IEP goal is part of a building block that's going to help a kid rise to this level of meeting an IEP goal that's at grade level. This is how we give kids access to the core curriculum. So it takes a little creativity, but you guys can be very creative. I have confidence in you in that. And I'm going to leave you there. So grade level standards, you can do it. It's not as terrible as you thought.